All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're exploring a majestic, honestly kind of hidden world that exists right under the surface of our oceans. When we think of ancient forests, we usually picture massive redwoods touching the sky, or maybe dense, dark jungles on land, right? But there is a whole other kind of forest on this planet that most people have never even seen, and it's literally hiding in plain sight along the cold coastlines of the world. Just imagine it for a second. An ancient, towering cathedral of green, stretching from the ocean floor all the way up to the surface. It's a towering forest built without a single piece of wood or bark, just hidden beneath the waves. And it's so dense and so vibrant that it creates an entirely self-contained world inside of it. To start our vertical tour, we really need to understand the staggering scale of this ecosystem's foundation. So let's look at part one, giants of the deep. Our main character here is the giant kelp, scientifically called Macrocystis porifera. Now, this isn't just your average seaweed you brush up against at the beach. It's actually the largest marine algae on Earth. And what's super fascinating is how it even manages to stand up. Instead of having a rigid wooden trunk like a tree, each frond is kept upright by thousands of tiny gas-filled bladders. It's almost like they have thousands of little built-in balloons tirelessly lifting the whole forest upward toward the sun. Now check out this number, 60. That is absolutely the magic number here. Under the right conditions, giant kelp grows 60 centimeters every single day. Not a month, not a week, every single day. That makes it one of the absolute fastest growing organisms our planet has ever produced. And the results of that insane growth? Well, in just one single year, a giant kelp plant can shoot from basically nothing to over 50 meters tall. To put that into perspective for you, that's taller than a 15-story building. And it's doing all of this entirely underwater. Okay, so now that we've got a handle on the architecture, let's take an elevator straight down to the bottom. Section 2, Life on the Floor. This is the rocky foundation where the whole ecosystem is anchored. Take a look at this massive number, 450 million. That is how many years sea urchins have existed on this planet. I mean, they have been slowly grazing these ocean floors since way before the dinosaurs, way before the first fish even. They are the ancient, original residents of the kelp forest floor, just hanging out and feeding on fallen kelp fronds. So the takeaway here is that this floor is a perfectly balanced, incredibly vibrant system. Down in the shadows, you've got those purple and red spiky ancient urchins we just talked about. You've got iridescent abalones clinging to the rocks, quietly filtering the cold water. There are sea stars slowly navigating the root-like holdfasts of the kelp. And honestly, my personal favorites are the nudibranchs, these little sea slugs that look exactly like living jewels. They come in electric blue, neon orange, vivid purple, just crawling across the floor of this green cathedral. Let's move from the basement all the way up to the penthouse. Welcome to Section 3, Guardians of the Canopy. This quote really hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Up in the canopy, where the fronds spread out wide across the surface to catch the sunlight, there is one small, furry animal holding the whole shebang together. The sea otter. They float up there on their backs, literally wrapping themselves in kelp so they don't drift away in the current. And they use their stomachs as a little dining table to crack open sea urchins. But the otter isn't just a cute resident, it's the guardian. By snacking on those urchins, it actively keeps their population in check, structurally anchoring this entire ecosystem. Floating down from that sunlit canopy and up from the ancient floor, we find ourselves right in the heart of the forest. Section 4, the Golden Middle World. As we look at this spatial breakdown, you can really see how life is perfectly stratified in this environment. We've got the canopy with the otters, the floor with the urchins and abalone, but right there in the center is the middle world. This is where the light filters through and turns this beautiful golden color. The kelp stalks sway gently in the current, and life is just absolutely everywhere. This middle zone is an explosion of movement. First off, you've got the Garibaldi. It's a bright orange, incredibly bold little fish that acts like a tiny, furious landlord, chasing away literally anything that comes near its nest. Fun fact, it's actually the official marine fish of California. Then you have harbor seals streaking through the kelp columns like silver torpedoes, using the forest as their hunting ground. And weaving through it all, thousands of schooling fish moving in perfect unison. It looks just like a living river of silver flowing through the green stalks. It's a breathtaking place, for sure. But as with so many natural wonders, this perfectly balanced cathedral is incredibly fragile. Which brings us to Section 5, the urchin barren threat. So what happens when the balance breaks? Well, when ocean waters warm up, the kelp canopy thins out, and otters sometimes leave or die off. Without the otters to eat them, the sea urchin population just explodes. And all those hungry urchins eat the kelp right down to the rock. The result is what scientists call an urchin barren. It's exactly what it sounds like, a rocky, empty wasteland that completely replaces what used to be a towering, vibrant forest. This chart is a really stark visualization of a devastating reality. Off some parts of the California coast, a staggering 90% of the kelp has vanished in just a few short years. That massive chunk of loss represents ancient, complex ecosystems that were entirely consumed and replaced by bare, empty rock. Looking at this comparison, it's literally a paradise lost. On one side, you have the kelp forest, a towering green sanctuary, perfectly balanced, providing a safe haven for thousands of species. On the other side, the urchin barren, a silent, rocky desert, completely devoid of giant kelp, just overrun by grazing urchins. It shows how an ecosystem that took thousands of years to build can be broken down in the blink of an eye.
But hey, it's not all doom and gloom. Nature wants to heal, and scientists are stepping up to the plate. Let's look at rebuilding the cathedral.
There are some really cool, specific steps being taken right now to help reset this ancient ecological balance. First, scientists are actually culturing young kelp plants in labs and planting them out in the ocean. Second, they're working hard to release sea otters back into these depleted areas so they can take up their mantle as guardians again. And finally, divers are literally going down there and removing the excess sea urchins by hand, just picking them up to give the kelp the space it needs to regrow. It's going to take years, maybe even decades, but kelp is resilient. And remember that wild statistic from earlier? Because giant kelp can grow 60 centimeters a day when the conditions are right, this forest will return. The cathedral is going to be rebuilt, one frond at a time. So I'm going to leave you with this to ponder. The next time you're standing on the coast, whether that's in California, Chile, South Africa, or anywhere these cold waters flow, look out at that cold blue expanse and ask yourself, what ancient hidden worlds are growing just beneath the waves? Just know that right beneath you, an ancient forest is waiting, teeming with bright orange fish, electric blue slugs, and silver torpedoes. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and definitely keep your curiosity alive for whatever lost world we discover next.